Hey, what's going on, man? Coach Tyler here with Black Diamond Softball and Fitness, and we got a brand new episode of the Foul Pole to Foul Pole Daily Show for you. Today is Wednesday, January 10th, and I hope you guys have made it to the halfway mark of the week unscathed. This time of year, man, we're itching to get back on the field. We're trying to figure out what the heck we're going to do in the spring and summer seasons and all that good stuff. We've got high school softball right around the corner. A lot of states are kicking off their tryouts about the middle of February or so. So everybody's kind of getting their winter workouts in. A lot of them are resting, playing other sports and stuff like that. So trying to be as busy as we can. What I wanted to get into today is talking about the toxicity in travel softball and just in youth sports in general. But before I do, if you haven't checked out the YouTube channel, please do so. It's youtube.com/@foulpole2foulpole. And also we put out blogs every single day. That's over on foulpole2foulpole.wixsite.com. I'll make sure both of them are linked down in this description so you have them. And we've got it now to where all the audio versions, just like what you're listening to now, is also over on the YouTube channel. So if you'd rather listen to it on YouTube Music, you can definitely do that. Google Podcasts is actually going away here pretty soon. So for those that are listening to it on Google Podcasts, you're going to have to download the YouTube Music app to get that podcast. So anyway, back to the topic at hand, talking about the toxic culture that it's everywhere. It's in society, man. It doesn't matter what you do. If you make paper airplanes or if you play lacrosse or if you read encyclopedias, man, the toxic culture that has taken over this world. And I don't know where it comes from, why it is. I don't know if it's, maybe due to COVID where we were alone and we were kind of stuck inside, couldn't really do anything. So everybody was on their phones and their tablets and whatnot, and everybody was speaking from behind a screen or texting or commenting or posting or whatever from behind a screen. We just don't know how to interact with people, because some of the stuff that I see, it's like, man, there's no way that you would say something like that to a person's face. And there's a perfect example. Yesterday, I had posted an article that was talking about the pitching distances from going from 40 feet to 43. And everybody knows it hasn't been a recent change in that. Actually, the last time it changed was back in 2011, and that's when the NFHS got up with the times and put 14U and up, high school and middle school level, up to 43. It caught up to the college game. Well, the college game changed back in 1988. So after that, there hasn't been any pitching changes. I know that. I wrote the article just talking about what that change did to the game for hitters and for pitchers and defenses and offenses. I didn't post it as it's been a recent change. Well, I had this clown that, if you guys see him, if you're in these different Facebook forums or groups or whatever, you see this guy, John Zaneski. He calls himself Squeak. He's from Pennsylvania, but his nickname is Squeak. But anyway, he's an umpire from up there, and anytime he interacts with anybody, it's always like talking down to him. It's like he must be some rules aficionado or something, like he wrote the book. So his comment was, this article is worthless. It seems that it was written back in 2011. There's been no current pitching changes or something like that. So, of course, other people are looking at the article like he doesn't talk about it being a recent change. It was more talking about what happens between 40 and 43 feet and why the change was made years ago. So, he didn't read the article, and he just, because he's some rules expert or whatever, he decided he would chime in. And that's just an example of what people do. You could type in 10 words and people will grab one or two words, and that's the only thing they look at, and they run with that. And what happens a lot of times is they'll have the exact same opinion or the same view or whatever as you do, and they'll try to dispel your belief on it by regurgitating your stance on the topic. It's crazy. But it's not just there in youth sports. It's not just on social media and via electronics. It's actually at the ball fields and at the games too. It's crazy. Listening to the parents in the stands, you guys know it. You guys are around them too. Running their mouth about the coach when the coach is 10 feet from them, or talking about a player that's on the field, not knowing that the parent is sitting right in front of you. So you're running your mouth like you're out there by yourself, but everybody's around you too. They see the same stuff you do. So instead of just shutting up and keeping your opinions to yourself, it's like you have to make it awkward. And once you get called out on it, you get mad that you're getting called out on it. And if you don't like the way your kid is being coached, take your daggone kid off the team. It's that simple. You know, we run to Facebook and we put these anonymous posts out there, running somebody down, knowing that you just told somebody this exact same story, but you're going to run and put yourself with go anonymous where nobody knows who you are. People know who you are. Why be toxic? Why not just shut your mouth and move on? Why put fuel to the fire or fan those flames, man? It doesn't matter where we're at, what we're doing. Somebody's always going to have something negative to say about you. I've been a coach for quite a while. And what's funny is when I go back and watch Game Changer and stuff, you can hear people. I mean, I watch a lot of teams. I got a lot of buddies that are coaches and I like to watch their teams and support and do whatever. But there's some teams I actually have to mute the live feed because there'll be parents that sit right underneath the camera and they're bashing the coaches, bashing the players, bashing the umpires, talking about the facility. Why does it cost this much? Why are we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? Why is she doing this? Why don't we coach that? Why is he telling her to do this? It's nothing but toxic. We can't just appreciate someone and their effort for doing whatever. We can't let people be okay or be comfortable with the decisions that they make because people are coming after them. And I know, trust me, I shouldn't worry about trolls and this toxic culture and just continue to breathe life into the positive things. But man, eventually it just gets up and it gets on you. And you just have to call it out when you see it. So next time, man, when you're in these groups or if you're around people or whatever, call them out on it and eventually it'll stop. But we have to change the culture. We have to. I wrote a blog today, first thing this morning, talking about this toxic nature that we have. And there's a lot of good points in there. I don't want to spoil too much of it for you, but it talks about some of the changes that we could make. And it breaks it down from parents, what they're doing that's toxic, coaches that kind of lead into it, even as far down as the players, as far as the culture that they have inside the dugout. It talks about umpires and the bashing that goes on with these umpires that constantly in, youth games or high school games. It's nothing but tell them how terrible they are and how bad they are and this and that. And eventually you'll see these videos pop up where these umpires walk off the field and the parents give it to them even more. Well, like, that's right, just quit. What are we supposed to do? How are these kids supposed to play? We don't have umpires. Well, they weren't thinking about that when they were bashing them, right? They weren't thinking about, hey, what if this dude or this lady gets up and just walks off? We saw the video a couple years ago, right? The female umpire was assaulted by a male coach. It's nuts. No wonder there's an umpire shortage. Honestly, I wouldn't want to umpire. I love the game, but man, I don't want to umpire because I don't want to stand there and just get ridiculed the entire day by, these coaches or fans or players or whoever that may misinterpret the rule, but want to come after me because I'm enforcing a rule that they misinterpreted. Now, I get it. There are umpires out there that probably shouldn't be umpiring, and we all make mistakes, and I get that side of it. But for the most part, man, we got some good umpires out there. And at the end of the day, just chalk it up as a lesson learned. Maybe don't play that sanction anymore, or use it as a moment for growth, for humility, talking to your team, talking to your child, and say, hey, look, sometimes it's just out of our hands, out of our control, and try to figure out what we could do better. We always want to, pass the blame and pass the buck and put it on somebody else. And, it's always woe is me or why not me. I get that. But man, I don't know what we have to do to change it. It's a societal thing, man. I swear it is. As a society, we need a hard reset. You know what I mean? You need to hit that start button and hit that reset button on your internal computer or something, man. But anyway, yeah, that was pretty much me getting it off my chest. I'm just eventually, it just gets to you, and you gotta call them out for it. So, I mean, my buddies, they get through it too. I mean, you can even see, if you guys follow Amanda Scarborough, there'll be guys that are bashing her. There'll be, Josh Cathcart with Hitting Done Right. They'll bash him. Teacher Man, the guy that does his hitting lessons. Just everybody has these, trolls, some more than others. And it's just like they feel like they can just say whatever the heck they want to say without recourse. And that trickles onto the field. It trickles. I mean, if parents are acting like that, or coaches are acting like that, the doggone kids are going to act like that too. So what do you think that culture's like within that dugout of that clubhouse? You got bullying, you got shaming, you've got all this stuff going on, but it's perpetuated, right? So, man, it starts with us as parents. I got to do better as a parent, as a coach. I'm not saying I'm immune to it, or I'm not saying that, times doesn't get the better of me, and you want to say this, you want to say that. But man, if you can just take a second, I forgot who I was talking to. Maybe I think it may have been Josh Cathcart from Hitting Done Right. And I said, man, there's so many people that complain about every little thing. If you were forced to write out your complaints, do you think you would complain as much? And so it's like that. Like if you were going to bash somebody, what if you had to, write it out on a piece of paper and mail it to them? You know what I mean? It's like that 24, 48 hour rule. I wonder if we had a 24-hour rule. Like if you read something or you saw something from somebody and you had to say something, like you had to bash them. What if you had to wait 24 hours before you could post it? Do you think you would wait that long? Or do you think you would just move on to something else? You think you grab another Mountain Dew from the refrigerator, grab another bag of Doritos, and you think you would just sit there and wait, or you just move on? I guarantee you're moving on. So think about that, man. Just scroll. What the heck does it matter? If somebody posts something that you don't like, scroll. If an umpire makes a bad call, he's not doing it on purpose. Some do, I guess. At the end of the day, I guess, look at the NFL. But at the end of the day, these coaches are out there trying to make money. So if they're that bad at the job, or these umpires, I'm sorry, if these umpires are out there trying to make money, right? If they're that bad at the job, then they're not going to get asked to come out there and umpire. Nobody's going to pay them to do that. So they're not out there intentionally messing up. And coaches that are toxic, they don't last. They just don't have teams that they don't have players that want to be a part of their team. So set the example. Move on. We don't see eye to eye on some things I don't agree with, and boom, move on from it. My kid has done it before. We've talked about it, and at the end of the day, it was just the decision was made to move on from a toxic coach. We're better for it. He's better for it. That's it. So anyway, I'm going to jump out of here. Got some stuff going on today. We are recording a couple of different podcast episodes, the interviews that will be coming out here in the next week and 2 weeks. So looking forward to those. Again, if you haven't checked out the YouTube channel, please do so. youtube.com/foulpole2foulpole. The blog channel, the blog post site is foulpole2foulpole.wixsite.com. They'll be linked down below. If you know someone that's dealing with something toxic and they want to hear me give my spiel on it, make sure you share it. If you share it with a friend, be sure to tell them you love them.